So let's look at how we can do some image editing in Google Docs. So taking this template of a report, the first thing we see is a nice image. So when we click on the image, there's a couple of things we can do. At the bottom, can you see it says inline, wrap text, break text. This gives us the option to basically move the image around and decide what happens. So inline allows us to have an image that is in line with the text. So if let's just make it a little bit smaller. If I decide to move it here, what it does is it breaks the text up and it will try and make it in line with the text. Can you see it's got one lot of text this side, one lot of text that side. If I was to change this and do wrap text, what you'll see now is, can you see the text wraps around it? So if I move it over a little bit, it's more like a newspaper style where the text goes around it. And if I make this smaller, you'll see more text comes with it. Again, if I make the top smaller, it'll try and wrap it around as best as possible. It also allows you to do a margin as well at the side. So if I choose 0mm, it gets a lot quite closer and more compact. If I choose 25, obviously this takes all of this space. Can you imagine there's a board around here and it's taking all of this space up. So let's just go back to 6 so you can see, and then 13. So you get the idea. Okay, the last one is break text. And break text is very similar to how you'd normally do it, I guess, in a lot of other things where you just want the picture and you want it to basically nothing else around it. So anytime there's text, you want it to move the text up or down. So blocks of text will move up and down. So if you try and put it in the middle of it, it will try and do as best as possible to move as much space around it, and it'll choose to move the page. And again, you've got the margin. So if I choose 0mm, less text going to move. So I can actually, let's copy this. There you go. So I have two of these pictures. Let's say I want two of them. Now you see that's got 0 margin and that's got 0 margin. If I try and, I can now overlap them. But if I was to choose wrap text, again, it'll wrap around it. Inline means I have to try and move it up and down. And if I go back to break text, again, I can choose where I want this in my document. And you get different options with the different text. So again, if I try and wrap both and keep them both in line, it sometimes overlaps the text, and you can see the text is there and it's there, and it makes it a little bit difficult for you to move stuff around. So often you want to break it, but sometimes you can wrap it. And again, you can add a margin to it if you want to. And that's pretty much how you move images around in Google Docs. Now, if you don't want all of the image, you can actually crop it. So by clicking this crop button up here, now you need to move these black lines, or the corner ones, either one, up or down, and you can choose where you move it, and this will crop the image to the right size that you want it as well. That's always useful because sometimes you don't want all of that image, and that can also cause you a problem if you're trying to move stuff around on the page itself. Okay, so there you go, a quick introduction to how to successfully move stuff around in your document by changing the style of formatting of your images.